Australia is the only island continent on the planet surrounded by no less than 3 oceans and 4 major seas, while as a continent it presents a surfable coastline of epic proportions. In 1914, Duke Kahanamoku arrived down under and gave a surf demonstration that changed the image of Australia around the world. Surfing had arrived. Since that time, surfing has grown intensely in popularity. The history of surf culture is written deep in the heart of this country. The story of Australian surf culture has been written by surfers who had some incredible breakthroughs. Their stories lead the way.
The surf culture in Australia is, I think it's a disease, it's a virus.
Keep it simple, surfing is one of the simplest sports that's out there.
For us, it was a real revolution.
It was tough, it was heavy, a very rebellious sport.
Joe Larkin's pioneer era of surfing shows how longboarding and craftsmanship began to rule Australia.
I had my very first surfboard when I was 9 years old, which was 1942. It was given to me by a soldier. I think it was an old redwood solid board. When I was about 15 and decided I'd have to make my own 16-footer. I was too bloody bit dear to buy it. And I started building that in 1948, and I think I finished it in 1949. But it was 16 foot. You've seen the photos of that. You know, they're bloody hard to ride.
This led him in 1961 to his first board factory on the Gold Coast, which was a big business from 64 to 68, when longboards were still the only thing to ride. But as it went further on, the new kids coming up were starting to cut the boards down.
You know, I distinctly remember from one weekend to the next, one weekend, everyone is out there riding 8.6s, 9-footers, you know, twinkle toes, walk on the board, the posing, the whole bit. And the next weekend, you and me and Michael Peterson were down doing roundhouse cutbacks on little boards, and it was like the age of the dinosaur. It was like the meteor hit midweek, and suddenly, if you weren't on a shortboard, you were old hat.
The shortboard revolution was on its way, and one of the first using this new shape was Nat Young, famous and known as a radical and electric surfer. Nat won the World Championships in '66 and '67. 1 year later, Bob McTavish came up with the first V-bottom surfboard and continued the surfboard revolution. But then a different major design contributor from Newcastle, New South Wales appeared on the scene with another idea that would win some world titles.
I guess the thing that I'd like to be remembered for is not so much winning world titles and competitive success, but the fact that I felt that, with the twin fin in '78, I think that I changed the direction of high performance surfing.
But he wasn't the only one who thought about different designs.
And at the time, Mark Richards was dominating, surfing a twin fin design, which was very loose and fast, but wasn't really suited to me because I'm a bigger guy. I was trying to work out, what I could do there, and what the design actually did was it kind of harnessed the wild element of the twin fin, which is fast and loose, and gave it the stability from the single fin, and you got a lot of thrust when you're going through your turns. More thrust and more speed through the turn, and you came out of your turn with more speed, so thruster seemed like a good idea at the time.
With 3 equal size fins on a surfboard now used on practically every surfboard made, Simon managed to win the Sydney Surfabout Classic and change the direction of surfboard design once again. Surfing down under still wasn't a mainstream sport, not as accepted. It was an experimental era, a free-thinking hippie time where everybody ran away from towns like Sydney. Surfing was raw and synonymous with pop culture. Then in 1976, a group, the Bronzed Aussies, had a dream to basically create pro surfing and formed the direction for all pro surfers of today.
Australian surfers and Australian surf culture has really changed how we see surfing as a sport and a lifestyle and a business worldwide. You know, if you think about, you know, the three biggest surf clothing companies in the world, like Quicksilver, Billabong and Rip Curl, they were all clothing companies that started in guys' garages here in Australia, and they've gone from, you know, a couple of guys making wetsuits for their friends or a couple of guys making board shorts for their mates to, you know, these multi-billion-dollar like global companies that, you know, influence sort of youth lifestyle. And I think when it comes to surfboard design, you know, this will be disputed all over the place. I don't care what anyone says, it's all come from this country. Everything that has been important in the shortboard evolution, and the only reason that, you know, Kelly and Andy and Mick and Joel and Taj and those guys are doing the manoeuvres that they're doing on waves today, it's all because of Australian shapers have created the surfboards over the years that have made it possible for those guys to go where they're going on waves now.
So all the Oz inventors were making things happen down under, and the new ideas proliferated around the world and influenced the sport probably like no other country in the world. With this, we say goodbye and thanks for watching Rebel TV. Ciao.